Hello and welcome to my Illustrator video tutorial. Okay, so we're going to start off by opening Illustrator, going to File and New. We've got a multitude of options here. We want to make sure we're in A3, and you can choose whether you want landscape or portrait. This is something that is unique to Illustrator, as in Photoshop you do not have the option to change orientation before you actually create the file. It's easy to tell the sizes of portrait and landscape, as we have here the width is less than the height, and here the width is more than the height. It's completely up to you what you want to do with this. I'm going to choose landscape purely because of preference. Okay, so now we have our file, and similar to Photoshop we have what appears to be a canvas, but it's actually called an artboard. And let me just show you. We're going to go to File and Place to get our image, find the image that you selected, and just press Place. Okay, as you can see, it is very large. It's actually gone outside of the artboard, which is this black outline here. And this does not happen in Photoshop. In Photoshop it will fit to the canvas, but in Illustrator it goes outside of the artboard. Now this can be easily solved. All you have to do is press Command and then the minus button to zoom out, and then there's a bounding box around your image. You can click on these four corners here and manipulate it. You can move it around, that kind of stuff. But what you want to do is you want to select the black mouse tool, and now you have the option to resize. So you can do many different things by using the mouse. But if you want it if you want it to remain or retain, proportion, all you have to do is hold down Shift and then begin to move it. So I'm going to make it so that it's just a bit bigger than the artboard, because the shark is my main focus and that's what we're going to be tracing. Okay, so now we can zoom back in by pressing Command and plus, and now we're back here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to select the paintbrush tool and just trace our image very lightly, but we want to make sure that we have at least two separate paths, which means we will trace the body of the shark, but I'm going to miss out a fin, and I'm going to trace the fin afterwards, and as to why will become clear very soon. So it doesn't have to be very accurate, although I am a perfectionist and I do like to make things as good as I can, so just take your time if you need to. We're not looking for any sort of magical artwork, because we can correct many of the things we do in this, because Illustrator is vector based. What this basically means is that it works with lines and shapes, and we can actually correct these lines and shapes to suit our desire. And that's something that Photoshop does not have. It's exclusive to Illustrator. Okay, so I've traced the body and some fins, but now I want to get this fin right here. And I'm just going to go around it, and I'm going to make sure I don't cross any other path. And there you go. Okay, so right now we can't exactly see what I've traced, but we can see by going to this part, to the layers, which is in this options bar. And as you can see, it's got path, and we can actually select the path from here. We can select the different paths, which is what I've traced, and it's called a path because it is lines and shapes in Illustrator that I've created. But we want to make the linked file, or the picture, our image that we placed in earlier, we want to make that invisible. So we go over to this icon here, the eye, and we just click on it, and then there you go, you have your shape, you have what you've drawn. And yes, does not have to be perfect at all. Okay, so we're going to leave the paintbrush tool now and go to the black selection tool. Okay, so as we click on here, we can see it selected this path. We can select the other path. We can actually do very many different things. We can make it bigger, we can squash it, but we can retain proportion. So if I just go back with Command and Z, I can hold down Shift and it will remain proportion and just get larger and smaller. Make that a little bit bigger, but there's also something else we can do. If we zoom in again and we choose this white mouse tool, we can actually use these things called anchors and begin to manipulate it. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to join this up. I'm going to make this a little bit more curved, flesh that out some more. Yeah, just make it look a little bit more like how I want it to. And there we go. And then again, to begin to move it around again, we press the black selection tool, and there it is. Can now move it. So I'm just going to place it there, and I may just want to make it a little bit smaller. There we are. That seems appropriate to me. Yeah, that's the end of that tutorial, I guess. Awesome, mates.